Hey everyone, welcome back to Roadside Coder, and in today's video we are going to understand Context API in React.js. So Context API helps us manage the state of our React application. What do I mean by that? Let's understand this with an example. So here we have got a structure of a simple shopping cart app that we are going to create in today's video. So this app has two pages, one for products page and other for carts page. And under products page, we have different components that are rendered in this screen. And we are creating a separate component for all of these products called singleproduct.js. Now this singleproduct.js will have a button for adding to cart. And when we press add to cart button, that particular product gets added to our carts page and it gets rendered over here. So we are going to need a state for it. So let's create a state. So we are using useState to create a state for our cart and for updating our cart. Now we are going to pass this state down to our single product components. Okay, so we have passed it, and whenever we press the add to cart button, it updates our state of cart. Now how do we get this cart state from our products page to our carts page? We cannot just pass it directly like this. So there's one solution. What we can do is we can take this state and create it inside of our app.js component. Now this is the part where it gets a little bit uglier. We have to pass this state down to our products page, which is not using this state at all. And then we have to pass this state from products page to single products and all of the single product. And then we are going to pass it to our carts page, which is only going to use this cart component and not this set cart. But since the set cart will be used by single product.js, we have to pass that set cart from over here, then over here to over here. So you see, this is a lot of prop drilling going on over here. We don't want that. We don't want our app to look like this, because since this is a smaller app, but in the bigger apps, it gets a lot uglier. So what is the solution? Yes, you're right, Context API. So let's see how this app will look like with Context API. So now what we have done is we have created this context over here, and we are going to create our state inside of this context. Now what's going to happen is this state is accessible in whole of our application. So let's say if we want the cart inside of our single products.js, it can directly take it and call it inside of this component. Now we don't need to drill down the props from app.js to product.js and then to single product.js. And similarly, if our cart page only want this cart variable and not the set cart variable, so it can directly take that from our context. And similarly for single product.js inside of the cart.js, it can take both of these state without doing the prop drilling. So you see how easy it gets to manage the state of our application by using the Context API. So without any further ado, let's get started. So I've opened VS Code over here, and now quickly go to File and click on Open Folder and open the folder wherever you want to create your React app. So in my case, I'm going to select this folder, and now you need to go to the terminal and type npx create React app and then the name of your app, which in my case is Context API tutorial, and press enter. So what is this going to do? It's going to go to npm's repository and take all of the things that are needed to create a new React app. And it's going to bring all of those things into this folder, Context API tutorial. So let's wait for it to finish. And here we go. Our React app has initialized successfully. Now we need to switch to that folder. We can either type cd and then the name of that folder, or we can go to File, Open Folder, and then open that folder. So here it is. Let me start our app real quick by typing npm start. And here it is. Our React app has started successfully. Let's go to our files and let's delete all of those files that we are not going to use. So this, and yeah, that's all. And now you're going to see that our app will start complaining because it was using those files somewhere. So let me just go ahead on app.js and remove everything that's inside of over here. Remove logo.svg. And let's just type hello world. Yep. Also, let me remove all of the default styles inside of the app.css file. Now let's start creating few components for our app. For example, first I'm going to create a header component. So header. So this component does not exist yet, but let me just create it real quick. So I'm going to create a new folder for components. create a new file for header.js. And I'm going to press RAFCE and press enter. And you can see it has generated this boilerplate code. So if you don't know what it is, this is an extension that I'm using. This is the extension ES7 React Redux blah 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 blah. You can go ahead and download this. So let me just name this header. And also I need to import it inside of our app. So I've pressed CTRL and space and it's going to show me suggestions and click on it. So it's going to import the header. Also for our shopping cart app, we are going to need two pages. First one is going to be the home page and other one is going to be the cart page. So let me install React Router DOM real quick. So if you don't know what React Router DOM is, it allows us to create different routes for different pages in React app. npm install React Router DOM. And let's wait for it to finish installing.
6 months later. 2,000 years later.
There we go. After a quite while, React Router DOM has finished installing. Let's close this up. Let me restart my app so that it doesn't break. Now let's create the different routes for our app. So I'm going to remove this and write browser router. So this browser router comes from React Router DOM. So just like this, I've imported it. And we have to wrap our app inside of browser router if you want to use React Router DOM. So now I'm going to create a wrapper around all of our routes and let's give it a class name of app. And inside of it, let me create both of our routes. So first route will be for our home page. Let me import route real quick. Just like that. So the path will be slash. The component will be home, which we haven't yet created, but we are going to create it very soon. Let me duplicate it. Another component will be for the cart and path will be cart. All right, great. Let me just create both of these components. So inside of the components folder, home.js, let me write home over here and cart.js, cart. There we go. Now let me import both of these real quick. Just like that. Whoops. There we go. So let's go to our home. We are already on the home page. So let's go to cart page. And you can see all of the home page and cart page both are appearing over here. It's because we have to add exact over here so that it goes one path at a time. Now let's start making our header a little bit prettier. So inside of this header div, I'm going to add a heading. Context API. Below this, I'm going to add an unordered list with the class name of nav. And inside of it, I'm going to create few list items. So first one will have a link tag, which will be coming from React Router DOM. So let me import a link tag real quick. Import from React Router DOM. And this link tag will go to slash page. And I'm going to have another link tag for our cart page. Cart, yeah, just like that. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Let me style this a little bit. So I'm going to create a new file, styles.css, and I'm going to write all of the styles for all of these components inside of this file. So let me import this file first of all. And I'm going to copy all of the styles because I don't want to waste time writing CSS because this is not a CSS tutorial. This is a context API tutorial. So let me save this up. Okay, so I haven't given the class name to the span. So class name, header. Also, let me just give these links some global styles. So inside of app.css, I'm going to write a tag and text decoration to be none and color to be inherit. Yep, that looks much better. Yep, that's right. So we can go to our home page or we can go to our cart page. Great. So let me explain these CSS real quick. There's nothing fancy going on over here. We have just styling our header to make it look a little bit bigger, increasing the font size, display block, and some margin of top and bottom. And for our nav as well, we are doing display flex so that they appear in the single line, and some justify content space around. We are creating some space between them, and some height and some margin top. And over here we are adding the color white to both of the list items inside of our header. So, and when we hover on them, we're going to change the color to turquoise. Okay, so I don't know why I gave these two classes. Let me remove this up. I don't think we're going to need them. Now, before creating our shopping cart, we are going to need some data, which will have the list of products. So for that, I'm going to install a dependency called Faker. So Faker helps us to create a lot of dummy data. So let me just go to the browser and search Faker. Let's go to its npm page. And there we go. We can find the documentation to the Faker over here. If you want to generate addresses, fake addresses, we have all of these lists for that. And what we are going to use is this commerce section over here. We are going to take the price and let's say product name. And also we're going to generate some dummy images. So for images, we have got this random section over here. This random section will help us to generate random images. So let's go on back to our app and let's see how we can use this Faker. So it has installed successfully. Let me close this terminal up. And now inside of the home page, we are going to import Faker from Faker. And we're going to write const products array. And inside of it, we are going to generate all of our data. So this is just like generating a JSON file so that you don't have to manually go ahead and do that. So let me show you real quick. So let's say we want to generate an array of 20 objects. So I'm gonna write array and inside of it write 20. So what it's going to do is it's going to generate an array with 20 undefined objects. And now we're going to map on it. So dot map. And inside of it, we are going to write ID. We will need the ID. So Faker dot data type dot uuid. We are going to generate a random ID over here. And what else we are going to use? Name. Faker dot commerce dot product name. Similarly the price and the image. All right, great. Now let's log this products array real quick. Let's see what do we get. Let's go to inspect into the console. And we have some error over here. Let me refresh it. Okay, so issue is over here. I have to write price instead of product price. So let's save this. Yep, now it's working. Let's go to the inspect and to the console. And we can see we have got an array over here with a ton of data. So with the random ID, some image, some name, and a random price. All right, great. So we have our JSON data generated. So let's go on and create the UI for it. I'm going to give this div a class name of product container. And inside of it, we are going to create a single product component. So let me first try to map it. So products array. Oh, you know what? I'm going to store it inside of a state. Use state. So let me create a use state called products. And we're not going to use set products. So let me remove that. And inside of it, we're going to add the products array. Let's import use state real quick, just like this. And let's use our products state. Products dot map. Now inside of it, we're going to create a component for single product, but let's just try to render it inside of the span. So prod dot name. Let's see. Yep, all of these are rendered over here. So let me go ahead and create a new component called single product .js. RAFCE. So here we go. Let me import this over here. Single product. And we are going to send it a prop of product. So prod. There we go. And let's go inside of it and let's resave it over here. We are going to destructure it out of it. So prod, and let me write the code over here. Just like that. So what's going on over here is I'm providing this a class name of product, and we are generating an image. We are providing the src of prod.image, just like we had in our data. We are giving it some alt attribute of prod.name, and then we are creating a div inside of it called prod.desc, mean prod.description, and inside of it we are giving a prod.name and product.price. So when the price is rendered, let me show you. Let me remove this real quick. So you can see it looks currently a lot ugly. So when the price is rendered, it is rendered just like this with .00 in front of it. So to remove .00, we are going to just trim it from 0th index to the 3rd index. So it's going to look like this. And at the end, we are rendering a button add to cart. Great, now let's add some styles for it real quick. So inside of the home, I'm going to import our style sheet /styles.css, and inside of the styles.css we are going to add some CSS for our single product component. So first of all, this product container is obviously this one, which contains all of the products. So this is going to be display flex, and padding inside of them is going to be 20 pixels. I mean padding on the whole of the container, and we are going to wrap it, and justify content will be spaced evenly. Let me show you real quick. So as you can see, let me make this bigger. Yep. Also for a single product, we are providing it a width of 25% so that it takes a section of our product container over here. So we are providing some space evenly in between of those, and some margin, and these are just generic styles, and some flex direction of column inside of the product so that they are all aligned from top to bottom. So image, and then the name and add to cart button, and some styles for our product description div as well, which is this one. So don't worry about the styles too much at this point, because our aim is to understand how Context API works, and I'm just trying to create a decent UI for explaining it. Now next thing that we are going to need is a cart component. So let's go to our app.js real quick, and let's go to our cart component. So let's go to the cart page, and inside of this div, let's create a span tag with style font size of 30. Inside of this, let me give some heading, my cart. Below this, let me give some separating br tag, and again a span tag with total, which will display the total of our cart. Let me write some random stuff over here for now. ₹100. Let's give it some style of font size 30. All right, and below this we are going to map to all of the products that are inside of our cart right now. So I'm going to give it a div, and I'm going to give it the same class name of product container that we gave to our home page. And inside of it, we are going to map to all of the items that currently are inside of our cart. So I'm going to leave this for now empty. And now let's see the logic of how are we going to do this. So inside of our home.js, that is our home page, we need to click to this add to cart button, and we want this particular item to be added to our cart. Wait, but first I noticed something. You can see whenever we refresh our page, you can see it's generating some different data. So we don't want that. We want it to just generate one type of data. So I'm just gonna go over here and write faker.seed and give it some random seed. Let me give it 100. You can just give it 150, any seed as you like. So let me refresh it. So now you can see it's going to just generate one type of name. Images might be different, but the name and price will be same. Now what we need to figure out, when we click on add to cart, we want this particular product to be added to our cart. So for that, what we can do is we can create a cart state over here. So use state cart, and let me give this an empty array. Let me send both of these props to our single product component. All right, and let me receive both of these over here. So cart and set cart. So what's gonna happen over here is, on click of add to cart, it's going to fire off a function, and inside of this function it's going to set our cart with that particular product. So we're going to write set cart, and we're going to take everything that is inside of our cart from before, and we're going to add the prod inside of it. So this is how you can add to the cart. But we also want to remove from the cart. So let me add another button over here for remove from cart. So in this, there's nothing fancy. We're just going to filter it out. So instead of writing this, I'm gonna write cart.filter, whichever the product is. So write c.id not equals prod.id. So it shouldn't match the product.id. and then it should return all of those. That means except that product, it should return all of those. So if we go on and add to cart, so let me just log our cart over here, so cart object, and open our console. Okay, so it's generating for all of those. So let me remove this console log from over here, and let's just write it over here in the home page. Okay, cool. Now if we click on add to cart, you can see 2 items has been added. If I write another, 3 items has been added. Remove from cart. Okay, it has cleared full of our cart. So let me see what's the issue is. Oh, okay, because we are making this operation for all of the products. So what we want is, so I'm gonna add a check over here. If cart dot includes, inside of the curly braces, since we are writing JavaScript, so if it includes the product question mark, then what it's going to display, it's going to display remove from cart. Otherwise it's going to display add to cart. So cut this and paste it over here, and otherwise it's going to display this thing just like that. Let's save it and let's check it out. If we click on add to cart, it has added this to cart. So you can see over here, let me remove from the cart. Yep, it has removed that particular product from the cart. If we remove this, we have only one product. Great. Now there's one issue over here. This cart state is inside of our home.js file. So how do we get this state to our cart.js file? So you can see inside of our app.js, we have our home state over here and cart state. So we need to take a state from home and pass it to the cart, but that is not possible. We cannot pass the state from child to parent component. So there's one solution over here. Either we can create a state over here inside of our parent component, that is app component. So let's take this state and I'm going to create it inside of our app.js component. Great. And let's pass it to our home page. So let me write it a different way now. So we can create a closing tag for route and remove this component, and inside of it we can write home. And similarly we need to create it for cart as well. So let me remove this from here, and inside of it let's take this component and add it, and let's name this cart. All right, now inside of our home component we need to receive both cart comma set cart. All right, this should work properly. It shouldn't have any error. Let's add to cart. Yep, it's working fine. Yeah, great. Also we can see an error over here. It should have a unique key prop. Yes, we can add a key over here, prod.id. All right, great. Now let's receive this cart state inside of our cart. Let's go to cart component and receive it. So cart comma set cart, and we are going to render everything that is inside of our cart. So cart dot map, and we are going to call single product component and provide it the product. And let's see if it works fine or not. Let me just give it key as well. Let's see if we okay, so these components have already been added to cart. Let's go to the cart. Okay, it's broken. Cannot read property includes of undefined. Oh, it's because we are not sending the cart and set cart from over here. So cart and set cart. All right, great. Now this should work. Let's check it out. Inside of our home page, let's add some things to the cart and let's check our cart. There we go. We are getting it from our cart. We can remove this from our cart as well. Yep, just like that. Let's just write the logic for this total as well. So inside of our cart, we are going to create a use effect. So it's going to run whenever our component is rendered. Let me auto import use effect just like that. And we are going to create a use state for containing the total of our component. So by default it's not going to be anything. Let's import use state. Now inside of the use effect we are going to calculate the total of our cart. So how are we going to do that? We are going to use something called reduce function. So set total and cart dot reduce, and reduce takes two things, accumulator and the current value. So I'm going to add the accumulator plus current dot price, current product's price. All right, and we also need to give accumulator a initial value, so I'm going to give it 0, let's say 0. But this won't work because this is a string, so we have to convert it into integer or a number. So I'm going to write it just like this, a number. All right, and now we're going to take our total and let's replace it over here, total. Yeah, let's check it out. All right, so if we add some products to our cart, and let's go to our cart. Yep, there we go. It is displaying the total price for all of our products. Great. If we remove it, okay, it's not rendering it it's not changing it in real time. It's because we have to add a cart dependency in this dependency array. Now if we go on and add something, and if we go to the cart and remove it, you can see it's changing in real time. Also, we can display the number of items which are inside of our cart. So inside of our header.js, we can write over here, we can write cart.length. But first of all, we need to get this cart state. So you can see this is a lot of work. When we make our app without context API, we have to drill the props in so many places. So you can see we have created a state over here, and we need to pass it to the header component for displaying that counter, and we have to pass it to home component, and then the home component is going to take it and it's going to pass it to the single product component even though it was not even using it. And just like this, we are passing it to cart component, and then the cart component is taking it and passing to the single product component. So you can see this is not a good way to develop a React application. So instead, what are we going to use? We are going to use is context API. So for now, I'm going to comment it out. And let's go to our src folder, and I'm going to create a new file called context.js. And inside of this context.js, we are going to create a new function. So RAFCE, we are going to create a new component just like that. So I'm going to name it context. And above this, we are going to use a function called createContext to create our context. So we are going to import createContext from React, and it's going to be a function, and let's give it const cart. So this is going to be our cart context, and we are going to wrap our whole context component in something called a provider, a cart provider. So cart.provider, and we are going to wrap our index.js with the help of it. So let me show you real quick. First of all, it's going to have a children, which means whatever it's going to wrap around, it's going to take all of those childrens and it's going to render it inside of it. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. So let's take this context, and inside of the index.js, add this context and import it as well. Yep, just like that. So we have wrapped our app with the help of context, and now over here we can create our cart component. So use state, and we can create our cart component over here. Let's give it empty array and import it from React. Yep, just like that. Now, how do we send this cart component to the other components? So we are going to take both of these, and we are going to add them to a prop of cart.provider, which is value. And we are going to add them over here. Now, what this will do is it will make cart and set cart accessible inside of whole of our application. So let's go to our home.js or app.js, and I'm going to remove this cart and set cart from over here. And I'm going to remove it from over here as well, from here as well. And I'm going to save it, and now you can see our app is going to break. Let me refresh it. Yeah, it's going to break. So let's fix it real quick. Let's go to our home.js. And now how do we get both of those cart and set cart from our context? So what are we going to do? Let me remove this first. So over here, I'm going to use a hook called useContext. So useContext. So we're going to take out a few things from it. And what is it going to take? It's going to take the context that we have created. So what was our context? This cart is our context. So let me export it. Export const cart, and inside of our home.js we are going to receive it. So cart. So we have two cart over here. First one was this cart component, another one was context. So make sure you import the one which is context, or you can name it something else if you want. So just like that, we have imported it, and let's take out cart and set cart from inside of it, and we are going to remove this. There we go. Also, we need to import useContext. So useContext is going to be imported from React, just like this. And now you see our app is working. So let me show you what was inside of this useContext. So if I log it, useContext, and inside of it we were providing this cart. Let's save it, and you can see we have the cart and set cart inside of it as we expected. All right, great. So we have used it over here, but we don't need to use it over here since we are not using it inside of the home page. So we don't need to bring it inside of the home page anymore. And we can remove this props that we are sending to single product. Now we need to just go straight to the single product and just add the use context over here. Let's remove these props. We don't need them. Let's import use context. So cart is not defined. Obviously, we haven't imported the cart. So from the context, let's import the cart. There we go. Our app is working absolutely fine. Now, where else are we using this cart and set cart? Inside of our cart.js, right? So inside of the cart.js, we don't need to import cart and set cart anymore. Let's remove that. And over here, I'm going to import it and import use context from React and this cart context as well. And now it's complaining. You can see that the cart component is already defined, so you cannot just go on and bring another component called cart. So let me just name this cart page. Let's take it and name it cart page, and let's go to our app.js and let's name it cart page. Or you can obviously could have changed the name of our context as well. So now I think it's fine. Again, we don't need to send cart and set cart to single product anymore from over here. And we can remove this set cart since we are not using set cart inside of the cart page. All right, great. Let's see if our app is working fine or not. Let's add all of these. There we go. It's working absolutely fine. So you can see we have saved a ton of code over here. Also, one thing, I need to do one more thing. Inside of our header.js, we can take use context directly now without just drilling down the props from component to component. So just add it over here, just like that. Take the use context and take this cart component and just add the cart.length. And if we go on and add the products in our cart, you can see it's increasing the number over here, just like that. So you see how easy it was while using Context API to pass down our state from component to component. Yes, you have to do a little bit of setup for the first time, but once your app is set up, once the Context API is set up, you're all done. You're good to go. And you just see we are taking this context and we are without drilling down the props from app.js to home.js to single product. And this is a small project. In the bigger project, the state management gets a lot tougher. So it's better to use a state management tool like Context API or Redux. So this was our simple shopping cart app. Now in our next video, what am I going to do? I'm going to explain you Context API with something called useReducer hook. And trust me, the useReducer hook adds a superpower to our context. It's just like using the Redux without even using it. So let me show you real quick, what are we going to create? So this is the app that we are going to create in our next video. So this has a full-fledged shopping cart functionality that you can add to your own e-commerce project if you want. So let's go and add to the cart. And you can see the cart number is going up and we have a drop down over here. We can go to the cart. We can see everything. We can change the cart number. We can delete the components from the cart. And we can also delete the components from over here as well. Also, the best part about this app is this, filtering the products. So we can arrange them in either ascending or descending. We can include the out of stock products or we can not include it. We can add the fast delivery only as well. So it's going to display the products that are meant for fast delivery only. Also, we can set the particular rating. If you want the 5-star products, it's only going to show the 5-star products, or the 3-star or the 4 stars and stuff like that. And we can clear the filters as well. Plus, we can search a product. So we can go and search. You can see awesome metal chips. Let me search, let's say this one, refined. Yep, there we go. So this is an awesome app that we are going to build in our next video by using React with Context API and useReducer. So stay tuned for that video. And if you like this video, don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Just go to youtube.com right now /roadsidecoder and just click on the subscribe button and press the like button if you like this video. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.